Marilyn Doobie here. What's the play for today? Well, today's play involves a Crayola crayon. Yes, one of those crayons from that back-to-school box of wonderful crayons, the kind that brought you so much joy when you were in elementary school. That kind of crayon. And what we're going to do is create some crayon rubbings using a stencil. And you might say I'm a little bit addicted because I can't seem to stop doing this. Now, part of the reason why I love doing crayon rubbings is one, it's instant gratification. Two, when you do it on book text, it just adds another layer of pattern and fun to it. And three, there's no waiting for crayon to dry, and it won't smear when you put something like watercolor on it. And you're going to see how I add some color to these. Well, here's the hardest part, the prep work. It's getting the paper off the crayon. The easiest way to do that is by giving it a slice down the side with a craft knife, and then it just comes right off. So now that my prep work is done, it's time to start playing. I'm going to grab a stencil with a pattern, and this one is Triangular Pathways that I created for over at StencilGirl Products. Position my paper on top of it. Any finished paper will work. I happen to really like doing this with book text. And then I'm going to slide the crayon along the paper to pick up the pattern of the stencil. I'm using my hand to hold the paper in place because I could tape it down, but that would be more prep work, and I just really want to play and have fun. And then I'm going to move my hand to the other side so that I can finish up the bottom part of the pattern. And that's all there is to taking a crayon rubbing. Now, the cool part about this is different patterns will give you different looks based on how thick the lines are, based on just a bunch of variables that go into it. So here you've seen this kind of pattern. Now I'm going to try it with my Trio of Thorns stencil. Now, as I do this, the look is going to be different, and the lines are going to seem a little bit softer, maybe a little bit hazier, and that's because the stencil design is wider. So I just need, and crayons breaks all the time. Granted, it's now half the crayon that it used to be, but it will still get the job done. So when I've got the softer lines because the stencil design is wider, that means I just need to go over it a few more times, maybe push a little bit harder with the crayon if I want it to be darker or crisper. Well, now it's time to get a little color in there. And I love using watercolors with this because it will allow the book text to still be there, so I'll still be able to see the print because watercolors are translucent. So to get my watercolors ready, here's the prep work. I'm going to squirt them with water. Lots of hard work, right? Going to dip my paintbrush in there and then start coloring in some areas. Now, one of the things that I like is to have variation, but I don't want to actually have to think about it too hard. Watercolors allows me to do that because guess what? Notice how those two colors are different? It's the same thing of watercolor, meaning it's the same color of watercolor, but the thing that's different is how much water I have in it. So you might notice that there are actually two cobalt teals over there in my tray of watercolors. One of them has very little water compared to how much pigment's in there, and the other one has a lot more water. And you can tell the difference when it's going on. It's darker wherever there is more pigment, and it's lighter wherever there's more water. So that's how I can vary the colors. I'm purposely making some of this lighter and darker. It'll add some nice variation to it as I go around and color in the triangles. And isn't it wonderful how carefully I am staying within those lines? Yeah, if you've seen many of my videos, you know that I am not a precise person and staying within the lines is not what I'm predisposed to do. But it's so much easier when you're using wax from a crayon because it's acting kind of like a little wall or a barrier, and it's keeping all my color staying in the area that I want it to. So it looks like I'm some kind of master precision watercolor painter type person, when the truth is I'm just kind of slopping it in there and it's spreading out all on its own. Now, I will admit that I'm a little bit addicted to this technique, in part because it's just so easy. There's not a lot of prep work to it, and the results are fast because I'm an impatient kind of person. So as I'm coloring these in, I am not using any kind of precision. I'm letting the crayon and the watercolor do their magic so that I don't have to actually be precise about this. Now, what if you don't have watercolors, or perhaps there's a color that you want that isn't exactly in your watercolor palette at the moment? Well, you can substitute with something like dilution sprayings. Just unscrew the cap and dip your brush right into that color. Now, for me, this is living on the edge, because anytime there's a bottle open like this without a cap, there's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to spill it. And happily, luckily, whatever we want to call it today, I did not actually spill it. And the more I think about that, I mean, really, I have a fairly white background. I had a bottle of color and I didn't spill it. I mean, that just kind of says there's something strange going on in the world today. If I'm that lucky today, maybe I need to run out and buy myself a lottery ticket. Now, if one color is good, I generally feel that two colors would make it even better. So I'm going to do two colors on this one, doing the center of the Trio of Thorns stencil in the orange, and then I'm going to do the lines around it in a different color. But I'm having a bit of a commitment issue. Do I want a light soft look, or do I want a deep dark look? Or do I want some combination? Well, here was my solution to that. I'm going to start out by putting a little bit more on the softer side on it, using more watered down watercolor, and then I can go back anywhere that I want and darken it up if I feel like I need that. Because guess what? This stuff layers. The more layers you put on, the brighter, deeper, more vibrant the color can be. And I definitely think I want some areas that are a bit darker. So to do that, I just need to grab some of the color that's in the middle of my little blob in there, because that's where the most of the pigment is for the watercolor. So that's going to give me a darker, brighter look to it. Now, someone out there watching this video is wondering, okay, she's made the papers, and now what is she going to do with them? Well, I've just created my own pattern papers that I can use in art journaling, I can use for collage, I can make a quick card with them. Anything that I would do with a piece of pattern paper is what I could do with these rubbings that I've created. But no matter what I end up using these in, the most important thing for me is that I had fun playing and making them. Now, the video is almost at an end here, but it doesn't mean the fun is coming to an end. You can find more of what I'm up to by checking out my other YouTube videos, as well as things over on my website at acolorfuljourney.com. I've got a newsletter with a downloadable video and PDF waiting for you, as well as a free workshop called Permission to Play. And of course, if you've been enjoying this video, I'd so appreciate that thumbs up. And if you would like to see more of my videos or know as soon as I have a new one out, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll know. And here are just some of the papers that I've made. Yes, it is official. I am addicted to crayon rubbings and watercolor. Well, thanks so much for joining me and letting me be a part of your colorful journey.